You guys test that link, make sure we get the sound.
Yeah.
Sound coming through?
I'm not hearing anything.
It does this to me, it changes every time.
Okay.
How about now?
Nope. Still don't have it.
I heard it delayed. I don't have it pulled up anywhere.
I'm not hearing you.
You're not hearing me. All right, can you hear me now? All right, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. For some reason, it changes, and I'm not quite sure.
For some reason, it changes, and I'm not quite sure.
Now I'm hearing it twice, just enough.
Should be good. I hate that Windows has this thing at the bottom, but all right. Good morning, everybody. It's February 9th, 2021. Somehow already February. Welcome to Canvas Admin Hours. I got to, of course, discuss the meme. My wife and I are big coffee drinkers, and I meant to tell you we got some kind of thing where a variety pack. We got like 8 coffees sent to us to try.
Oh,
And
nice.
one of them was called Snow Day, and we had that little bit of a baby snow, if you will, this weekend. So it was perfect, and it was so smooth. So that's what inspired it.
I haven't had coffee in a week and a half. No, I haven't had coffee in over 2 weeks. I haven't had caffeine in a week and a half.
Why? Because you're just being
Living life on hard mode. But I sleep better, so I think it's worth it.
Oh, that's true. But, oh my gosh, you can't take my coffee.
Yeah, but we both know that I can drink it in the afternoon or at night and then fall asleep. I've done that.
Yeah.
So I got in trouble when the puppy was making all kinds of noise and I fell asleep during it. And she's like, "Oh, no way. That's not fair." So, my name is Justin. I'm joined by Jake and Amy today. I have not seen Sagan at all. Probably busy as always. And then we got the pups on pup cam. So we make sure they're not chewing anything up on my room like they always do. So welcome. We're going to start with our reminders. We got one update of something that we're seeing and then a couple of how-tos. So let's get to it. So the reminders, canvas.cmslearns.org. We're still keeping that up. We're still getting suggestions and adding things to it. The bit.ly/CMS Google account. Amy ran into trouble with that yesterday and had to use her own instructions.
It's more that I just forgot to jump accounts. I don't sign into the same accounts at the same time, but yeah, it is a hard thing to remember.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. I had to bring it up. If you're watching either live or asynchronously, don't forget j.mp/ITPD office hours is open 24/7. We keep an eye on it. So please continue to submit questions there. Sharewell tickets. Make sure you include details. I've saw actually a few good ones this week where we had email addresses, course URLs. Really, really helpful. And that's the one thing, if you're working with your teachers, have them submit the URL, which is the thing up in the address bar for the course, because there's information in there that really helps us dive into what we're looking into. So, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. If you're in the course support forms, make sure, or in the PD courses, Canvas Challenge, Google Drive Challenge, make sure you continue to submit those forms. Amy, how are we doing there? I think I saw 2.
Yeah, we're caught up. The
Nice.
2 that came in were the ones that just came in since I cleared it out yesterday. And by the way, we are seeing credits show up in my talent, at least knock on wood.
Yay.
Anybody who said something to me and said credit wasn't showing up, I am finding that they just need to remove the dates on their my talent transcript. So that's not us, sadly. Like, that's just remove the dates from my talent. But I haven't had one recently that I've caught that somebody's like, "Hey, I need credit," and when I actually looked into it, they did have it. So that's good.
Nice. Did we get to the 1200 that you wanted?
Oh, I didn't check this morning. God, I hope. I'm gonna go look now.
She was all excited about this. We're close to hitting 1200 complete on Canvas Challenge alone, which is awesome. So Power School changes for this year. Yeah. Last year's numbers I was looking were like 3,500, Jake.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I need one more person to take the survey. Come on, guys. Just take the survey if you're done. One more, guys.
The next point here, we brought it up and we've said it, but we're going to bring it up again today. There's going to be potentially a lot of Power School changes happening. Students moving, courses being changed between teachers, sections moving. Be patient. 24 to 72 hours on that to process. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. And then your digital learning consultations. We got calendar links for Trish and Aubrey. I know Trish is joining us. She usually keeps us updated. And so use those links and you can meet directly with them.
And Trish and Aubrey also good resources for learning about Zoom. And in Canvas, there's the Zoom course inside of the resources folder. So
Zoom 101.
Note about that. You said last week we were talking about how we don't really have much info on Zoom, but Trish and Aubrey have some great resources in there, and you can also reach out to them. So,
and as a friendly reminder, if you're in a Canvas course and the side navigation bar is here, you can go ahead and look at what we've got here. So I know Zoom 101 is here. My Talent, Canvas Grade Passback is a big one we've been directing people to, creating a sandbox course that is not tied to PowerSchool, and even our new Canvas Challenge. Was there anything else in here, Jake, that you would point out? Because you have more input on this one than I do.
I mean, there's other things that are like specific to different groups. Like you got the EC departments and L services support there. The teacher resources, that blue or green button up there.
Yep.
For them. So there's just a lot of different things. I recommend taking a look at anything where the title seems even remotely relevant for you.
Yep. And one thing that we've talked about as a group is anything that we expect those we're supporting to do. When I was in the classroom, for example, I would always do the assignments beforehand. That way I knew what the kids were going to be encountering, and I knew where the potential pitfalls were, and I knew the solutions. So if you're supporting the staff members, stay a step ahead. Look at those resources, be ready, and take the time to go through it. So the first one is an update related to schedule changes and grade sync issues. And we're still spending a lot of time on the grade sync issues, and I linked it to the wrong thing. Awesome. Let me change that real quick. Jake, if you want to talk about while I'm changing.
So we know that your schedules are potentially changing again as we go from full remote back to face. So if any sections are moved around in PowerSchool, they then get synced with Canvas. That can cause your grade passback setup to stop working, even though you've done all the steps previously. It's really just a matter of re-importing the gradebook categories, and then it would work. We see an influx in tickets concerning grade passback as we make transitions from full remote to hybrid or back again, as schools are rearranging schedules. So that's not to say that you need to rearrange schedules, but should schedules be rearranged, that can affect this. So that's why we're saying schedule changes and grade sync does create issues for grade passback. And the most important thing is re-import the assignment groups in order to have a successful grade sync again.
And one thing of note there, it doesn't create new groups again. It just reestablishes that connection. And so like I'm finding at Butler, if a teacher comes to me and has had like 2 or 3 kids changed from in-person to remote or vice versa or whatever, typically they're the ones that are experiencing grade sync issues. And sometimes we have to wait a day or two for the PowerSchool Canvas to kind of settle, and then they need to re-import the grade categories. Sometimes they try to re-import them a little too fast, and that's the issue. So you kind of just have to wait a couple of days for that to kind of work its way through the system too.
Well, and if you're on this slide too, by the way, refresh the presentation, you'll get the most updated version. That was my fault. And then also I added the bright pink button here for the resources that we shared out last week. So it's more in depth of just these 2 steps. It's more in depth of what to do. So thank you, Jake and Amy, for bailing me out on that one.
Easy, lots of hyperlinks.
Yeah. Lots of moving parts too. Next thing's a how-to. This is a good little trick for Canvas pages, and this is the oops, I goofed. Let me fix it. It's the view page history and looking at revisions. So this works on Canvas pages, and if you click when you're in the page, the 3-dot button that's next to the edit, you can view the page history. I can show you a page history of our homepage.
Yep, that page right there would work too.
Yep. So view page history, and then you get all these changes. So, and there's lots of changes. It goes back to the beginning of time for the page, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah.
And then you have the ability to select a revision and restore. So just know that this is here. This is a great tool. We've seen a number of teachers that have mistakenly changed something, didn't realize what they did. They saved it, used the revision history to go back and restore the version that they wanted.
And we know there are others that were not aware of the page history and tried to rebuild the entire page from scratch.
Yeah.
So save yourself a lot of time, know about the page history, tell your friends, because you don't want your friends wasting their time either. Please help each other. that's a
I've
good
done
one
this
to know.
when I've like messed up the code on something. Like I have a table with some iframes inside the table, and I've messed it all up, and I like totally tortured the HTML. So I'll just go back to revision history and be like, all right, let's start fresh again, so I can figure out where I am. So that's like a really helpful tool.
And
Nice.
where I've used it is I'll get it to a place where I like it, and then I'll save it, and then I'll do some experimenting and try it that way. So,
Yeah.
do note, it's not an automatic thing. You've got to click save. This is not a Google
you gotta
Doc. You've
click
got,
save.
so something to be aware of. In the button here, we've given you resources to the Canvas guides on a little bit more in depth on viewing pages and looking at the revision history. I found it interesting that their topic was the amendments to the Constitution. I found that very ironic, and I appreciated
That's
whoever
cool.
did that as a history teacher. So,
Yeah, that is cool.
next topic is a Chrome tip. And this is something, again, saving you time, saving you energy is pin tabs. So, any tab that you have, if you right click on it and you click pin tab, it anchors it to the left. So like I'll use this on a daily basis. I'll anchor Canvas, my email, Google Drive in one of my windows. And this is a great tool to have them quickly available and you know where they are. The other thing I found is when I was in the classroom and I was floating those last couple years, the computer will save those pin tabs for you most of the time. So I would come into the classroom, log in, open Chrome, and those pin tabs would automatically pop up and open for me because I knew I needed them on a daily basis. So,
And you can also, once they're pinned, if you right click close all tabs, it does not close the pinned ones. So if you want to get rid of all the other tabs except for a couple that you need to save, then you can right click close and then the rest go away.
so for example, if I wanted to pin, and you guys can see my pins up there, CMS Schools, I can right click, pin. Now you notice it's anchored here on the left. The other one I like, Jake, that you showed me was close tabs to the right. I can't tell you how many times I've used that to wipe. I've been researching and I don't need it anymore. Just get rid of them all. So
I use that a lot. Yeah.
go ahead and close that one. And then our last little tip today, and this is a newer one that's been rolled out more widespread. I know Amy and I are big fans of this one. It's tab groups in Chrome. So right click on a tab, add it to a new group, and then you can open and expand that group. So you can see in my window here, I've got two groups. I've got Canvas admin, and I can close this up, and you'll see there's a yellow border around it. It won't let me close it because I don't have one open.
Because yeah.
So
you're in it. Yeah.
I don't need that. Let me do this. This is usually the way I operate it. So you can see here I have these two tab groups. If I close this, here's the tabs that I have open for CMS Learns. If I'm done with this one, but I still want to keep it up, I can close it. And if I want Canvas admin back expanded, because I have multiple tabs in here, I can get to them very quickly. So tab groups are a great little tool. The documentation on that, actually, I found this yesterday. I meant to show you this to you guys. I found a page called Chrome Tips that's done by Google. So it's not actually the support documentation, and it's actually pretty. They did a really nice job on it. So they've got tab groups. I don't think our instance of Chrome has the search yet, though. I haven't updated. So great little resource on doing better with Chrome and organizing things a little bit better for yourself. Anything you
I
guys
use
want?
this, by the way, for just like as people who are troubleshooting with this. I really love using this for helping troubleshoot, especially grade passback issues. As we know well, when you are dealing with grade passback, it is very slow and you have a lot of troubleshooting where it's a step and then you walk away for a little while. So I will often open a tab group for that teacher and I'll call it that teacher's name, and then I'll have like their grade sync page open and their assignments page open, and I'll be able to toggle back and forth between their pages to do the grade sync and to re-import their categories as I'm helping to troubleshoot it. It can make it really easy to kind of keep up with what you're troubleshooting in your Chrome browser. So that's one way to pair this with Canvas. Just use it that way.
Yeah. Well, if we get a ticket where I've got a teacher has 3 or 4 courses that aren't syncing, I'll put the ticket number in the group. Yep. Go do those, and then I know I can come back to it later. So,
and guys, if you know, like what we're talking about, we're breaking down little pieces of things that we use constantly to support and troubleshoot issues for everyone in the district. So the grouping for a particular situation, and then you open a tab and you search for a Canvas user. So you use the Omni box up there in your custom search technique to find that user. And then you open their courses in another tab and you group them all together for this situation for this teacher. That's one of your tab groups that you're working in. And then you open another one for some other issue that happened before you could solve the first one. And you've got your groups kind of placeholder of information. It makes this is how we survive our support needs, and everything that comes in for us as a district using these tools. So that's why we're showing them, because you're also administrators for Canvas and you're supporting your teachers. These are the kinds of tools that help us and can help you to keep it organized while you're supporting many different requests.
Well, I
It
think
could be a
Jake,
little chaos.
yeah, you talked to that. It's funny, when you say that, Jake, about the chaos, my dashboard, my sandbox has that image of being in multiple places, and that's why I've learned to do the organizational skills. So, all right, so that's what we got. If you're submitting questions, friendly reminder: do not submit PII, personally identifiable information. So no student IDs, email addresses, none of that. Just so we are live streaming, and I know whoever's supporting the call will keep an eye on it, but just in case. So
we got 4 in there.
All right.
That's exciting.
I'll pull the first one up, Jake, if you want to.
Yeah, so Hope's saying that she has multiple students can't access a teacher's course, or a teacher's S2 on Canvas. I'm not sure what S2 is. We're assuming that's semester 2 course. Is the course published? Are the students enrolled in that course? Those are the kinds of questions. So I'm really not sure what's happening there, but that would be the first step of troubleshooting. Make sure that the teacher has actually published the course. Are students seeing the course in their dashboard? And if that's not the case, maybe the students have favorited some courses. So they have to click on the courses button in the left-hand column and then all courses to be able to see not just the favorited courses, but all of their courses. So those are typically the kinds of things that this is. It'll be one of those issues. Either the teacher hasn't published the course. Now, if all students can't see it, that's the most likely thing. If it's just a few, then it's probably the other issue, is that those students have favorited some courses and they don't see them all on their dashboard. So they have to click on courses, all courses, and then they'll see them. But otherwise, it'd be putting in a help desk to get from there. All right. Trish is saying, can you click on that one, Joseph?
I think I did. Yeah, it's just taking a minute.
Oh, okay. Question regarding profanity in Canvas discussion boards. And is there a way to alert, filter, or moderate discussions to stop profanity? So let's start with a discussion board is basically carving out a space inside of your Canvas course for students to have discussions, to talk to each other and to talk to the teacher. If you just want students to talk to the teacher, create an assignment. If you want them to see each other's conversations, you have to create a discussion. Now, just as you would in a classroom, if you want those conversations to be appropriate, you have to set expectations and you have to monitor them. So the question here, is there a way to moderate discussions? Yes. Go into discussions and read the discussion responses if you are assigning them to students. The moderation is reading everything that the students are saying and setting expectations for tone and ensuring that no one's being bullied or anything like that. You need to actually be in those in the discussions. As the teacher, you can delete anything someone else says. So you can capture what was said in a screenshot and then delete it so that other students would not see it. And then you can address that behavior problem with the appropriate support of your school to address the issue with that student. But that really is the method, is you use discussions as they're designed in Canvas to review the conversations and making sure that things are being said appropriately. So the challenge there is some teachers find themselves getting really overwhelmed by the amount of reading and the amount of discussions that they have. The simple approach is to create fewer discussions. Maybe it's one a week or one a unit instead of a discussion every day. It might just be too much to read through and deal with the conversations going on in there. But the other things you can do for monitoring this is to you can get emails directly to your inbox with the discussions. You can get text messages if you really want to be on top of it. You could set up notifications so that you get a text message when students submit to the discussion board. So just right from your phone, you can see what they said and decide whether or not you need to go in there and address an issue. So there are a lot of ways that you can do this to moderate, but it's a lot of work is really what it comes down to. If you're making discussions and intending students to be in there discussing, you need to intend to be in there reading what they are saying and having that guidance to make sure that the conversation stays appropriate. There's no other way to do this, that we don't have any sort of artificial intelligence that will scan every message and notify you if it's on the naughty list. That does not exist today.
Another thing that could be good, and I know I've talked about before with the people I've worked with, is use rubrics. Create a discussion board rubric and save it to your account. And with every discussion, put that rubric in there. All right. That gives you that clear guideline of what you're looking for, what you're not looking for, and the reasons. And it kind of gives you some of that documentation you need too.
And it's essential to begin with. If you're creating discussions, you have those rubrics and you set the tone early so that later on, a dozen discussions down the road, you don't have to remind so often about how to reply appropriately to a discussion. So it does require that. You got to give the students the feedback to help guide them to appropriate discussion conversations.
And don't forget, you can create one rubric and use it over and over. Yeah. So
there's actually a discussion rubric already district-wide that you can apply to any discussion about giving full sentences in your response, being thoughtful, being considerate of others, that kind of thing. So it already exists. You just import that rubric into your course and assign it to your discussion.
Well, and I think this also ties into something else we talked about, Jake, with, what are students going to see when they leave, the bubble of elementary, middle, or high school, and they move on to college or something. I mean, Amy will tell you too, how many discussion boards do we do?
It's all you do when it comes to virtual courses.
Yes.
There's a ton of discussions.
It's a good opportunity to help students learn this skill. All right, next one. ACT prep.
Yeah, so I was reading this a little earlier. So Phillips is asking about, if I remember correctly, CMS Downtown handled the ACT technical considerations last year. I have not heard of anything, but we're mostly Canvas support here in these office hours, and I don't have any connection with what is needed for that.
Yeah. I've been asked about it last year. This year, I know last year we tried the Proctor caching. It did not work on campus because the Chromebooks and the network computers were not on the same network. I would say you need to go through your testing coordinator and have them talk to accountability, I believe.
Jennifer Bauer.
Yeah, and they've got to interface with technology for us. Last year, when I tried to ask technology people, they kept telling me to go back to accountability. So I would say that's kind of the same route. It's a little bit confusing. I'll admit that. Yeah.
This one,
Connie is asking about pin tabs and grouping. So what she's saying here is that there's some pages that load automatically for staff when they log into Google, and that's true. And that's currently you don't have access to the staff settings. You no longer have access. You used to. But you can put in a ticket to request that the pages load on startup be removed, or any other settings that you want, but it would be a support ticket for that. Unfortunately, we cannot give our tech contacts access to staff Chrome user settings any longer. So just put in a ticket and we can modify that based on the directions you give us in the ticket.
And an additional note as well, that does include bookmarking too.
Yeah.
Because I know I put in tickets to request changes to the bookmarks for the staff and students, or for the staff anyway. So cool.
Very good.
I swear I hit the X button.
Yeah. Well, I think our office hours are turning into office half hours once a week, and we'll keep that schedule. And we can stay longer if you need us. But we got a couple more minutes here before we round out the half hour. If you have any questions, j.mp/CMS or /ITPD office hours, and
I'm glad I'm not the only one that messes that one up. I don't know if it's the colors or what. I always get it wrong.
Well, I was looking at the second one. That's why I said CMS.
Yeah.
We could use some more there too.
Y'all know that j.mp is the same as bit.ly.
They just don't let you create them that way anymore. But it still works, doesn't it?
I create them all the time. I can create j.mps.
My Bitly will only give me Bitly as the option.
Are you signing in, or are you just making them?
I'm signing in.
I think it's because you have an older account, Jake, to be honest.
I had it for a long time.
This j.mp is so much shorter.
I know.
You can make, like, you could do bit.ly/ITPD office hours or j.mp. It'll work either way.
Oh.
So even if you make yours as a bit.ly, it should get the j.mp.
And I like the j.mp better, but I think everybody's gotten used to the Bitly one, so I've used it more.
Yeah, it's the one that people recognize as a shortened abbreviated URL. So
I do miss the
my
Google
Bitly
one.
account is over a decade old, so that does make sense that I would have that setting and you didn't.
Remember I got to show them the thing that we saw yesterday that I liked with Chrome was I went to any web page, right click, and you can do create a QR code from the page.
Yeah, this is a cool feature.
Now, Amy, I don't think you were here, but I was dying of laughter yesterday. You ready for this, Amy?
I think I heard you laughing, but I didn't know why. Yeah.
Look at what they did on the QR.
Oh, it's a cute little dinosaur. That's adorable.
So it's a newer Chrome feature we found. Pretty cool. And I liked it.
It's live. It wasn't a feature flag. It was just something we had to. It just was there. So any website you're on, you can right click and create a QR code.
You do have to be updated to the most newest version of Google Chrome to get this.
Yeah.
And I just confirmed, Jake, you're correct. I just used one of my random Bitlys and did j.mp and it worked. So that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Amy, did you see his hands?
I don't trust things. I trust things. So I had to make sure. So yeah, it does work because I did my Butler tech support form and it did come up even though I did the j.mp. That's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. That was really interesting.
This one finally passed out. He's been full of it all morning.
Right behind you, so you can't leave.
I felt bad yesterday. I rolled back just a hair. I rolled back just a hair and got his fur. I didn't get him. And he's trying to pull away. He's not complaining, but he's trying to pull away. I'm like, I'm sorry, bud. That was my fault.
Poor dog.
He's my little buddy.
Yeah.
So,
very cool.
Jake, I got to show off a little bit too.
Okay.
I got a new shirt sent to me from Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
My brother sent it to me because of all the playoff stuff. It showed up in the mail last night. Like, this is awesome.
Maybe you should petition to get Tom Brady to play for the Browns.
You might get a Super Bowl.
It worked for Tampa Bay.
It did. Yeah. Seemed to work. Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, I guess with that, we're going to wrap it up.
Have a good week, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. One just came in.
Ooh.
Nice work.
Right.
I have a student who is able to log into the Chromebook to log on when trying to access Canvas, but it keeps giving an error. Ooh. Can get to Canvas and see the drive, but not. Could this be a Google login potential?
I'm trying to understand what we're saying. So when a student is able to log into Chromebook, but when trying to access Canvas, it gives an error. What's the error? We need to know what the error is.
Yeah.
Telling us it gives an error isn't enough. We want to know what error are they seeing. So
I
The
would
text
think
of it,
that
yeah.
they log into the Chromebook. When you try
Yeah.
to go to Canvas, are they clicking on login with NCED Cloud or login with Google? If they logged into the Chromebook with their CMS account, login with Google should take them to Canvas
Canvas.
directly. Log in with the NCED Cloud, they log in with their state ID and the NCED Cloud password. Both should work. So is this a new student to the school? If so, then that student might not be provisioned correctly, and we'd have to look at that. But without knowing what the error is, we really can't help too much.
I also would wonder
Ms. Chip, you're still here. Please give us more details.
Yeah, I would also be curious if they're getting access denied. Occasionally, we weirdly see this where they're using some bookmark for NCED Cloud that is something they no longer, for Canvas that they no longer have access to. So making sure that they're not using a previous bookmark and they're going to NCED Cloud from like scratch, if you will, is a good idea. And if they do get that access denied, they can always just click on dashboard on the left, and that'll take them away from that page into their dashboard. So that's another option. I do occasionally have students who have that where they're just
That's a good
using,
point.
like they bookmark some random page from some class, and it might be something that ended up unpublished, and so the student's still going to that bookmark and suddenly is getting access denied. So clicking on the dashboard on the left is another great tip if they're ever stuck. That could be what it is. But yeah, if we could see that error, we might be able to give more details. Saying log in with organizational email, and yes, it is a bookmark.
That could be why the bookmark.
It could be. I don't understand the organizational email.
So Justin, just to show an example, click on that link. So that we can show what that looks like.
Are you guys seeing that? Yeah. I put it on the wrong
yeah,
thing.
that's
Let me move it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry.
Yeah. So if you see something like this, but it doesn't show login, they are logged in. They're just on a page they don't have access to, and they could just click on the dashboard. But if it still says login and they're seeing an error like that, then that means they have not authenticated into Canvas yet.
Yeah.
And that trick's gotten me before where I've had pages up and not realize I wasn't logged in. That's definitely gotten me before.
I think that's it. I think they just need to click on the login. That's what it's sounding like. I think they're on that exact page, actually, Jake, based on her follow up there.
With the bookmark.
But I think they have a bookmark. Yeah, they have a mark somewhere. Yep.
Andrew, again, the QR code thing. Just
from any website, you right click and you're creating a QR code for that site.
What I like is it tells you what that site is right here.
Or if you can type in there.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. And it looks like there's a limit too. Oh, cool.
That's
okay. We learned something.
So just right click, create QR code.
And we just found that yesterday. So, and
so has the district paid premium membership for Go Formative? No, not that I am aware of. I don't think we have any subscription to Go Formative. So what you're saying can be embedded in Canvas. That's probably, you're looking at the apps page in Canvas, either in a course or your sub account. You'll see the apps, and those are options available, but it doesn't mean that CMS is paid for them. There are many different things in here, and you can install things. Some work without requiring any licensing but others, once you install them, they're going to ask you to get a key and secret, which means you have a contract with that company and they then give you those details in order for you to use that application. We don't have all of them. We have not licensed everything that's here, and so they're kind of use at your own risk. Some of them we've already installed. Like we've installed the Google Drive LTI and YouTube apps into Canvas, so you don't need to install those yourself. CK12 is installed. You know, that's free. That's open source textbooks, K-12 textbooks, right there. May not be perfectly aligned with our curriculum standards, but that those are supplemental resources that you can use for sure. So there's a lot of different tools in there, but we don't have licenses for all of them. No.
Cool. Thank you, Jake. All right.
Good. I guess we have to up our wait time. Maybe we just didn't wait long enough.
I was going to say we were doing the teacher thing where we were answering our own questions and not giving it enough wait time. Coffee used to be how I did wait time, right? In the classroom, like I'd hold on to my coffee and I'd make myself take like 2 or 3 sips before moving on. That was like my mentor teacher taught me that. That was the best thing I ever learned as a new teacher.
I've learned that trick with my own children.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, just taking your time to let them answer, which is so uncomfortable, and sometimes it's kind of fun. Not gonna lie.
I've heard though that psychologically people are more uncomfortable with wait time electronically. Like we are not comfortable with silence in like a virtual environment like we are in real life. Like in real life, most people get uncomfortable after like 15 to 20 seconds, but apparently virtually that's down to like 1 to 3 seconds. Like people get very uncomfortable with like quiet during virtual world, which is interesting.
For this, like we can't see our audience's faces, right?
Exactly.
So it's really hard to know what's going on out there. Is this just dead air and no one's even listening, or?
Yeah, like you don't know. So it's interesting. I could see that. Yeah.
Well, and how many times have you been in like a chat support and they're like, "I'm sorry for the delay." I'm like, "I don't care. I'm in tech support. I get it." You know.
Yeah. It's just interesting.
We did play the quiet game with the kids the other night. It was awesome.
Needed some parent quiet time.
I won.
Yeah. I could guess who lost. Love to death, but I can guess who lost.
Yeah. Yep.
It's okay. He's adorable. It's fine.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I think we're
one more attempt.
Yep. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you next week. And talk to y'all soon.